Hi, this is Vinny again from the iMoot team. I thought that was a perfect point for me to jump in and welcome everyone to Natalie's session here. He says trying to look at the session title because there's no PowerPoint. But sorry, Natalie, I can't remember the name. Gamification plugin for Moodle. That's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah,
So thank you everyone for joining us, and Natalie, whenever you're ready, you can begin to lead the session.
So welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming along to this presentation. There is going to be a repeat session of this at 10 o'clock tomorrow night with a co-presenter who's a programmer that's developed a gamification platform. So there's going to be, it's almost a two-part presentation rather than a repeat. So this is a build-up and it's very much a brainstorm. So I'm glad to have the people in the room that we have. So my first request is, would you please turn your microphones on, because this is it's not a presentation, it's a discussion. So we're going to need lots of voices because my voice is letting me down at the moment. And I'm just going to share my desktop and bring up some things for us to discuss. If you just heard the conversation between Maureen and I, a lot of us have come into gamification through a massive online course. The one that I did, I think it was 2 years ago now, had 80,000 participants from around the world. And it was my first experience of living in a small country town with too much time on my hands at home with my family responsibilities and a bit bored, I would say it can get when you have lovely children and other responsibilities and can't get out. So a MOOC was a really exciting thing for me to do on a Friday and Saturday night because I had 80,000 people to chat to. The forums were a little overwhelming, so I went to a Facebook group where there was only a few hundred of us chatting constantly. And I think I might have tapped into the right few hundred because we're all still actually chatting daily on Facebook. And most of these people are presenting at G Summit in a few weeks' time. And they're just absolute geniuses in this field. It's their full-time work, and they're really leading the way in research. But just very briefly, for me, what gamification is, it's deconstructing the success of games and applying it in different circumstances like marketing, HR, education. And I don't want this session to be a basic what is gamification session. What I'd like to show you is how I've tried to put all of that into Moodle. So I'm just going to pull up my, yes, that's working. So after the MOOC, I had to write this down, and a table and a PowerPoint slide just wasn't quite big enough for all of the things that were in my mind. So what I started realising was that the grid layout that Joyce used in her original Moodle tool guide was far more what I wanted to say. So I started going through each of the activities available in Moodle, and I sent it out to the wider community and asked for feedback. And Vinny, I don't know, Vinny, are you able to fully participate in this session, or are you doing multitasking? Would you like to just jump in for a bit and say our partnership in this?
Hello. I'm just trying to kind of running things in the background as well and sorting out login.
Yeah, I thought you might be multitasking.
Switch tasking, and I'm not particularly effective at that. But I can't remember how. I think you posted something on, it was maybe one of the Facebook groups, saying that you was taking the Joyce's template and looking at how it can be adapted for the different player types. And at that point, I knew nothing about it, but it sounded interesting, so I got involved and had a little read up and gave my 2 penneth worth of advice.
And the way that Vinny gave me that feedback was he recorded about a 20-minute video of him working through every single one of these boxes and saying what he thought about it. And I thought that was a great way of collaborating on a project. It didn't have to be synchronous, but I still managed to get his thoughts. And Vinny and Julian had both set up gamified Moodle courses that I'd seen, so I knew that they were coming from a place of playing around and experimenting like I had. And then somewhere along the line, Tim Hunt got involved without discussion as well and made a few comments about the quizzes. So they got upgraded to a green and an orange. So this post is not just my point of view. The second page is more of a guide for administrators and course creators, and that's where I started talking about the plugins that I'd found that could extend core Moodle features. So if you look through that list, you'll see different plugins recommended, and today I'd like to show you some of those in action on the courses. I'll just switch this course here. It uses, I'm going to do this quite fast because I want to move into a discussion of it. But on the left is your progress bar that I've customized to not be ugly colors, which I think makes a big difference. So for the teacher has a leaderboard here that you can see all of the people who've logged in, and I can see that Elizabeth Bond has progressed through all of these, and the percentage gives me an indication. And you can have multiple progress bars and identify which activities attract Gabe Zickerman. Never logged in. Interesting. So I think that's one of the most useful plugins that I've found. The other one that I think there's a huge potential for is the Configurable Reports plugin, which I've only just tapped into. Is anybody in this group using the Configurable Reports plugin, or do you know what it is? Would you like to jump in and explain it or expand our vision of it? It's been out for a while. You can tap straight into all of the databases in Moodle and pull out an SQL query or report. I think it's probably not used frequently because you have to kind of know what those tables are and what the fields are. I'm just trying to get into the reporting side to show you how it works. So I've spent enough time on it that I could track how long they've spent in the course, and that was using different fields and ID numbers. And if I took more time, I don't think it's a lack of my knowledge, but it's just the time to sit and figure out what all of those different fields are. I could keep on extending that report and pull data into the Moodle interface. So I'm just trying to do this slowly so that you can see how easy it is. So you can see there that you're starting to pull in the fields, and there's conditional activities that you can apply. And once you've got your report in place, you can apply a template to it so that it appears in a certain way, and that's how I've got mine to look vaguely presentable, still not exactly pretty. Yes, it's anybody can do it, but you don't need code, you just need logic and time. So it's a fantastic plugin. So Gareth, first question for you. I don't want to have to click on the button that pulls up the configurable reports. I want it embedded in the page so that it becomes a heads-up display that shows their current points and their current level. And I'm not sure if that's possible or how to do it. What would you say?
Sorry, Natalie, could you just repeat the question? My mum had a hair.
Sorry. At the moment, I've got it configured that you have to click on that scoreboard for it to open this report. But what I'd really like is for this data here to be displayed directly in there rather than having to click. Is that possible?
Okay.
So I've installed the plugin that says that.
It should be possible.
Yep.
So when you click on a link, that it's just a case of changing that page. Oh no, okay. I'm just looking. Your screen's taking a minute to refresh.
So I've installed the module in my site. I've then added a block called Configurable Reports,
Right.
and now I've added a hyperlink to this image that opens up the report.
Right.
That I'd like it to appear within the page.
Ah, okay. That would be a change to the code in the module to make it a thing called inline. I know that that's been done for another module. I can't remember which one. I had a tracker to do something with this assignment module as well, but that's not complete yet to make some data inline. So yeah, it is possible, but it is really talk to the guys who wrote it, sorry, the people who wrote it, to actually put an option in the setting for the module to let it display inline. I think it might be the core module that did that, was like a files and folders module.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is possible. It's not exactly easy. It is a lot of code. Well, not a lot of code. It is a,
Yeah. So you can see that's where the block is there, and I've got the block hidden, and within the block I have the opportunity of making different reports that appear as a link. And notice that I've got a second progress bar in here that's allocating bonus points, and that's a way of implementing the levels by having the progress bar, the main progress bar, and then adding additional bonus points. And I've watched quite a few students actually go through this course, and the bonus points just work so well. They're just eager to get those extra stars. And I've just made them 5 extra points there. And any other day, if I put in an extra, if I put a box that says here's extra work and a list of 5 tasks, I don't think anyone in the class will do it. But because they get a star and it's a bonus point, they're motivated, which is just what gamification is about, is tapping into those evolutionary traits that make us feel good. So feel free to go to Clever, who's kindly hosting this course for me and provided the lovely graphics. So go to their website and you can register for this course. It'll take you an hour or so to work through it. It's a basic introduction to Moodle, using conditional activities to hide topic 2, topic 3 until you've completed topic 1. I must say it was a lot more time consuming to do this than I thought it would be. I thought the concept was quite clear in my mind and that I'd be able to whip up this simple course, but it still took a lot of my time. So my next challenge then was, okay, well that's one Moodle course. What if I redesigned a whole Moodle site? What if I got a theme that was highly customizable and started stripping out all of the content that was really not necessary, and made it feel more like a gaming interface without obviously going to the extent that they can with their budgets and their graphic designers. I'm still trying to implement those game mechanics. So the progress bar, Gareth, that's page bottom. I use CSS to put it at page top, so I'm hoping that's not going to break anything else in the theme, but so far I've got away with it. And I just shifted this whole main section down enough pixels, and I had to put in a fixed set their height there, so you can't put too much information in that top area. I'm using the blog because that's as close as I can get to Minecraft, which sounds crazy, but my kids, who are being a bit noisy in the background, I hope they're not bothering you, really enjoy Minecraft more than any other game because of their sense of agency and control and ability to create within that environment more than any other gaming environment. And also the choice at the beginning of either survival or creative, I think, is one of Minecraft's key features. So multiple people can enjoy. Excuse me. So has anybody used the blog with students?
I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
So on the right of my screen, if you can see it, there's a blog menu that says view all entries for this course, view my entries, or add an entry about this course. So I've never seen a teacher. Yeah, so it's a block that you can add called it's your Moodle blog, but you can integrate external blogs with it. So you can bring in a Google blog and integrate the two. So anything now that I write as a normal kind of post with media will be published on my Google blog. And then they've got the option down here that it's either published just to themselves in a draft state, to anyone on the site, or if you change your site settings, you can publish it to the whole wide world. So it's really a workbook for a student that they can, every time that you want them to do something, they can make a blog entry, and then they've got a portfolio of all of their work, and it's across the whole Moodle site rather than just course-based. And when you're inside an activity, I'll just see if I can quickly find an example. If you say this probably, Wiki's not the best example, but over here now my blog menu has changed to say that I can add an entry about this activity. So then there's a mapping between this activity and my blog. So it's a student-generated ebook of what they're doing that's published online. I would like to know if anyone else has used it and how it goes in practice, if you know of anybody. Trying to look what other plugins. I haven't got a whole lot of plugins here just yet. I'm still working on this site. One of them I did use on my Clever course was self-enrollment plugins, so that if you give people a choice, they're automatically put into groups. No, I haven't got that one in there just yet. At the moment, I'm using points and levels, so you can't access the higher level until you've got points at the lower levels. So it's conditional activities, and just in the latest release of Moodle, they've changed it that instead of saying that you have to complete these 5 activities, I can say you have to complete any of the above activities. So there's a lot more flexibility in how we use conditional activities now, which is going to be good to see what we can do. So badges have always worked like that with and/or conditions, and now conditional activities do as well. But at the end of the day, I'm still not quite happy. It still just doesn't look that great, no matter what we do. All the plugins I've tried, not quite getting there. There's a new plugin just been developed by Frederick somebody, can't see his name. Does anybody know if he's from HQ? I think he's a reputable developer, whoever's done this. So I downloaded this level up, and it gives people a star to indicate what level they're at and a progress bar that indicates where they're up to. It also gives you the ability to, let me just go back and have a look. The level of availability plugin, Frederick Massart. Does anybody know him? So here's HQ. Right, so I think you can trust this code to be secure, at least, if not mature just yet. I did get a few bugs when I installed it. Because I like the potential of this. It might be a very simple way of implementing levels. So keep an eye on the progress of that, and he's got a whole list of features that he would like to add in, but there's particular things blocking him at the moment from implementing. So over time, I believe that this will be an awesome plugin. Another plugin that I learnt about during Andrew Down's session is the Tin Can Learner Stream. So he's actually got this plugin written for as part of a set. So down the right side of your Moodle course, you could have a stream of everything that learner has achieved that day, which is a way of providing feedback and reward that they can see what they've done. So that looks like an interesting plugin to keep your eyes on. I was also just in another session about Joomla, and there's the potential of possibly hooking into other systems that have already got these gamification platforms working. So this one through Joomla's interface, you could hook that up to Moodle, and it would. And this is pretty much what I'm after. If I can get shoehorned to do what I want it to, just a list of what your current points are, what your levels are, some badges, and a progress bar. So that hopefully I'll have that done by June 1st. If you vote for me in the shoe selfie competition, I might get some Gareth's time to customise this theme. So. And then a while back, somebody contacted me through LinkedIn who has been working in training for many years as a programmer. So he develops in-house custom training sessions, and him and his friend have realised over the years that there's something fundamentally wrong about the way that HR implements, especially corporate training, in regard to motivation and engagement, and how much of it just feels so token and there's so much reluctance. And both being gamers from a gaming background and being interested in gamification, they've come up with a product which he'll be demonstrating to you in the second session. And I suppose it's comparable to Tin Can in some ways, how people are saying that we're now going to have a learning record store that sits alongside a learning management system but doesn't do everything. That's what their concept is as well. They're not trying to create a new learning management system, but they're giving learners a journey that they can go on. But what I particularly like about this system is it's going to blur the lines between professional and personal training, and it will be based on an individual's skill, and you can reuse that skill in different contexts. So say it was a basic communication skill, you'd start down that road, you'd get certain points to level up until you got to a higher level, and then the system will recommend other associated skills that you could add to that skill set and put you into challenge situations with other team players, so it becomes a game-like environment to prove that you've got those skills. And my first question was, how does that integrate with Moodle? And they assured me that it can through APIs, and I've been reading about LTIs. Did anybody make it to the session about LTIs, which was in the middle of the night for me? Nobody made it to that one? You did, Mary. Would you like to give us a bit of put your mics on, give us a bit of a rundown of what that was about? If you can put it into words. I'm not putting you on the spot. So Maureen, go for it.
Yeah, I'd say for me it was something that was very new. I've often seen that there's a tool there that allowed me on Moodle to link to other external places, but I didn't really know how to use it. So what I've basically got out of that session was, to be honest, a whole list of places, links that I've got to go and have a look at what's available, because there just seems to be no end of things that I could actually use.
Yeah, I saw a very long list the other day which had virtually every Web2 type of software out there, which was a very broad definition of LTI, which I hadn't thought of it as being so broad. Mary, you found it. Jump in. I can barely hear you. Can you speak up a little bit?
One of the things that the presenter did acknowledge was that a lot of what he was talking about, it wasn't nonsense. So I think so that it could be linked.
I'm not really hearing you very well. I'm just hearing whispers as if you're a long way from your microphone. So perhaps there's some audio issues there, unfortunately.
Can you hear me any better now?
I can hear you loud and clear now. That's much better.
Crazy. Okay, so sorry about that. The presenter did acknowledge that much of what he was talking about linking to can already be embedded into your course anyway. But perhaps what he said was that perhaps rather than having to copy paste embed code, this might be a quicker way. But there wasn't particularly new. I think the advantage though was that you can link to an external tool system-wide, which is then available to every teacher in a course. So then that saves some duplication of linking to resources.
Yeah, that's a good point, because when I do see these list of LTI tools, I thought, well, that's just sharing a YouTube video. We've been embedding YouTube videos for a long time. It's nothing major. It'd have to be
correct. Yeah.
a better reason to use it than that.
Right, and he acknowledged that, but like I said, I guess the advantage would be if he was linking to some global science resource, for example, that teachers in multiple courses might want to have access to. Then once it's been linked for once, then it can be system-wide available.
But just for me, this is Vinny, just to jump in there. The useful thing is when it can start passing user information and grades, so you can use it to authenticate into an external site, and also for students to take a quiz or an activity, and for those grades to be passed back into your Moodle. So it kind of takes it to a much deeper level than just embedding and linking and that kind of thing. And you can also use it to, with the LTI provider plugin, you can use it to connect activities within a multiple site or one Moodle site to activities within a different Moodle site.
What do you mean by that? Connect an activity within one Moodle site to an activity in another Moodle site?
So Moodle acts. You can set Moodle so that it acts as a provider and a consumer, so that you can have students doing within one course or within one site, being logged in, being authenticated, and then clicking through on an activity. That actual activity, though, is in a different course or in a different site doing that activity, and then the grades getting passed back to the first place that they came from.
Right, that's wonderful. That's what I was hoping would be possible. So that would be, so the difference between, say, IMS and SCORM is that IMS doesn't offer any reportable data back into the system, and SCORM does. So that's what we're saying with the difference between embedding Web 2 as opposed to a full LTI interface.
And also, you could use it, if we're just talking about Moodle, you could use it to, you could have one course where you published all of your activities. If you had the LTI provider plugin, then you could set up other courses where those activities were being used or added. So you just have one place where you could update your activities, and it would feed through to all of the other courses that were using them.
Oh, that sounds...
I'll put a few links in the chat for people to have a little look.
Yeah. So to do this LTI side of it, is it something that I could research and, if I had the time, do, or is it something that you need to be a full-time developer to be able to do? If I download the LTI provider and consumer plugin, am I then right to go?
Yeah.
So just get the plugin and I'll be right. Now, Dab, would you like to turn your microphone on and join in and explain? If you can possibly turn your microphone on, you're welcome, but chatting's fine if it's easier. The first time I came across the LTI external tool was through names just jumped from my head. We basically bought their courses, and once I was given the secret key, I could set up the relationship between our Moodle site and their site, and they had an interface that was like a payment system, and we consumed their courses. So then it looked like an iframe within our system, and I believe all of the reporting only went back to their system on the students' progress. I don't think it came into our Moodle system. So this Aspire is the name of the product that Lars is given as a code name. The Aspire system is very much built on pulling all of these smaller activities from any amount of sources, not just Moodle, from any sources, into this overarching framework that takes the learner on these journeys and introduces them to other learners on the same journey, so you've got communities of learning happening around it. So there's the choice of either developing a plugin for Moodle to interact or LTI, and I'm thinking LTI is the way to go. Does anybody else want to have a quick vote on which method you think is going to be the best way of integrating the two systems? Yeah, I'm thinking that an LRS would be a good place to store that as a central storage. LTI plus Tin Can, yeah. On my screen at the moment, I'm sharing the grade book, which is a dashboard, if you like. In a game, this would be a very pretty leaderboard with stars and fireworks. And what's really missing between our environments and gaming environments is audio. And I've just been doing a series on video editing with my students, and they've come up with these great clips, and at the last minute they all chose their own audio clip. And it's just amazing how the different audio that they chose has given their video clips such a different feel. And I think it's a shame that we don't use audio more to provide feedback to people, and excitement and motivation and mood. One day Moodle might be like that, but I think we're a long way from anything. So I don't think anything that I do is going to make this gradebook look exciting. I can prune it down as much as I like. I'm going to get rid of all of those coloured boxes and stripes. But I like the idea of using another interface to give people feedback on where they're at. And from all of our studies that we've all been doing in gamification, that's the key to gamification, is constant granular feedback, because that's where you get your motivation to persist, and that builds up the resilience. Has anybody else been getting badges throughout the iMoot the last few days? What sort of badges have you all been earning? I earned a Mojito badge. That was a nice surprise. So in gaming terms, that would be called a surprise or a variable reward, because I wasn't told up front that if I participated in the unconferenced area, I would get a badge. That's one way of motivating people. And I found it motivating to get the surprise badges. Normally I don't really respond to, I think I don't respond, but it has been nice to get little badges coming through saying that I've looked in the forums, and I do put a lot of effort into iMoot. It feels like somebody's noticing that, and it's being appreciated, which makes me feel good. Yeah, issued yourself badges. I accidentally issued 3,000 people a badge a few weeks ago. I didn't realise they acted retrospectively. Yeah, when you set it onto, if they've completed something in the user profile, be prepared for lots of people saying, what's this? I actually set one up on this site today, just a welcome badge. And when I went into the message section, I realised that's an opportunity for onboarding. So as soon as somebody logs in and puts in their first name and last name in my system, they're getting a welcome badge. But I get to customise that message, which appears in their inbox. And I tried embedding a video Do you think that's going to work when they receive that in their mail system? Do you think that video is going to play?
Would it be a YouTube?
Calling on your brains now. Yeah, I just went and found a YouTube video that was a welcome to Moodle type video. But I don't know if it's going to work within the mail system. Sometimes it strips out images and video.
I mean, maybe the link will work in terms of embedding a link in the badge in the message. And when they get the badge, maybe the email message they get with it is the link will stay there, perhaps something to try. I mean, I think a lot of this is not of an answer rather than, oh, does it work, does it not? You know, try it out.
Yeah. Worst thing that can happen is it just won't work. And I don't know if you can quite see right down the bottom of my screen, there's a aqua button that says contact us. In an earlier session, it was an absolutely brilliant session by, I can't think of his name and I don't want to switch screens while you're watching, but he recommended OLAC in his presentation on designing for mobiles, and he also talked a lot about bootstrap code and theming and gave some really good tips. So certainly watch that playback. Get some tips on making these scenes work the way that we want. Paul Hibbets, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I'll just click on that. It might pop up and you can see it. And I think this, again, it's a feedback system because people can type in what their question is and they've got instant access to a human giving them feedback, which makes the system more dynamic. Jane McGonigal defines a game as being composed of a goal and obstacles, feedback, and being voluntary. So I worked through each one of those four and started mapping which plugins can offer those four different features, and that's where I've come to the point that I'm at now. And I really think it's the feedback one that we're close, very close to getting a system that's going to get all this information out of Moodle. And instead of an engagement analytic block for a manager to look at whether a student's going to likely to fail or succeed, it's really the students who need that data given back to them in the first place. And then the secondary concern will be to make sure that managers have that data rolled up. In Moodle 2.7, we've had the new events and logging released, and they have used the tin can verb statements in part of that design, so the two systems should work well together now. The level up plugin that I just showed you fires an event which can be used by programmers to access that data. Thanks, Nadev, that looks fantastic. What's plugin block achievement? I haven't seen that one before. You can't get a mic and tell us what it's about? I put up a post in Moodle.org a few weeks ago and asked for people to contribute ideas for this session on different plugins that they've used, and I haven't had any answers yet, so maybe Nadev, you can put them in there so that other Moodlers can find them. Bad mic. Oh, what a shame. Would have been lovely to have you involved in the conversation. So, is there anything else that people wanted to? What do you see as the issues around this? A lot of these sessions are very positive about what could be, but it helps to put on the black hat sometimes and talk about the risks and the issues involved in it. What sort of reactions are you getting from people when you talk about implementing these ideas?
Hi Natalie, so if we come back to the gradebook, I think a lot of problems for yourselves and loads of people is knowing which bit of the screen belongs to what, who to talk to for what bit. For example, the gradebook you've got there, even though the gradebook is generated by one bit of Moodle, that actual those stars and colours are in the theme. Yeah? Whereas some other blocks I think you showed earlier, saying, oh, obviously like my help, and I'll obviously, so if you send me some screenshots, I can quickly say, oh no, that's that is that. Is that even though it's within the theme and the whole overall block, it started by someone completely else, different, and it's difficult, I suspect, for loads of people to understand of, oh, I need to talk to that person. So I find with devs is, and developers like me, screenshots from me are great because it really explains the problem. I say, right, that is my responsibility. I can help you with that, or you need to go and talk to such and such because I know that. Because I look at a screen and I don't look at the screen as a whole and everything there. I can identify, oh, that's that bit of code, that's that bit of code, that some person belongs, or that is elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's especially with teachers who don't have the site level access that I've got. It's frustrating when you want a certain button or feature and it hasn't been configured by your admin yet. So if you haven't read up on Gareth's session, he's talking about My Moodle, that you can install your own Moodle site and be your own Moodle administrator, and you can download all of these cool plugins, and you're not going to break anything. You can test out, and then you can get a prototype and take it back to your institute and say, hey, this is what I've been playing with, and this is what we could do. How about we do a trial? So that it gets you more familiar with what's controlled by themes, what's controlled by site, just how much a teacher can do without admin rights.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is all about getting over that fear, and there's loads of guides and stuff, but I'll cover that much later in my session. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I might wrap it up there and invite all of you to come back in about 28 hours from now. No, more than that. It's Sunday. No, tomorrow is Sunday. Yes, so about 28 hours from now, and Lars will be able to talk you through his product, and he has a lot of screenshots. We've also produced a video explaining the concept, which he's about to release on a blog, and you'll hear my voice doing the voiceover, and I couldn't quite fake the whole American, let's get excited about this great new product. So you've just got an Aussie chick talking about something that I'm really passionate about, but hopefully it gets the message across about what the vision is. And if any of you would like to be involved from now on, you're welcome. It's going to take a team of us to get this done, so we decided not to keep all of our great ideas hidden in our private desks. We're putting it out there. There'll be a blog. We'd really like your feedback on the blog. We'll be asking you to review the concepts, and you're welcome to submit a response and share it with other people that you know in the industry. So we're really looking for different perspectives. So we're looking for institute managers' perspective, coders, developers, and let's not forget the learners and the students. If you're not a code or a person or a developer, what you can offer is how would a learner feel about this, and try to put yourself in the shoes of somebody just starting a course for the first time. So I'm going to wrap up before my voice does go. It did last, although I'm tempted to kill my children for the background noise that they provided. My gamification bribing system didn't work. I bought them a hamburger and chips at lunch and got a promise out of them to behave, but I should have said you'll get the hamburger and the chips after you behave. It would have worked better.
Would you like to go back? No,
they are playing a game. They're playing Lego Star Wars. I thought it would keep them quiet, but it caused more fights about who was winning, who wasn't. So
you had a question earlier about you weren't sure if the theme or a plugin or something. Would you be able to go back and just show me that, and maybe I could help answer that while we're here?
Which question was that?
I think you said earlier, you weren't sure if this was a theme or a plugin. There was a conflict. There was a problem with your.
I've had a lot of questions for you, Gareth. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, maybe we'll leave it to another time.
Yeah, okay. I'll probably meet you in the conference room, because we've been. And by the way, we're having some good conversations over there. So you're welcome to jump into the Oranges bar, and taking the opportunity to throw some of these ideas out there. Vinny, an open source project. Lars and David, his partner, have actually spent a lot of time writing the code and the underlying structure for this project, and it is going to be cloud-based and work on all devices. So they actually don't have a concrete plan as to where the next steps are going to go, and they are open to different methods. So whatever works is the answer. So I'll say thank you and goodbye, and look forward to seeing you all again sometime. Yeah, Vinny, when I first spoke to, I don't know if it was you or Julian, about doing that presentation, we tried to make sure that it was about getting people's input on how to make this integrate with Moodle as the plugin or the LTI. So I've explained that to Lars, and he's quite respectful of that. Thanks, Maureen. I will. I'm sucking on strepsils, and I'll go and have my cup of tea now. So bye, everybody.